Make sleepovers past easy.
Mike Lindell was right the entire time. He stated after the 2020 election that there was some funny business going on, and he was sued. He was ass. He should sue the FBI. Tulsi Gabbard, Department of National Intelligence, just came out and confirmed everything that Mike said. She brought out the receipts, and she is advocating for exactly what Donald Trump wants.
I've got a long list of things that we're investigating. We've got the best of the best going after this. Election integrity being one of them. We have evidence of how these electronic voting systems have been vulnerable to hackers for a very long time and vulnerable to exploitation to manipulate the results of the votes being cast, which further drives forward your mandate to bring about paper ballots across the country so that voters can have faith in the integrity of our elections.
That's all I want. Faith and integrity in our elections. I don't care who wins. I do, but I'm more concerned with who is counting the votes and ensuring that every vote placed is legal. It is accountable. It has the right authority. And that the only people voting in elections in the United States are American citizens. The Democrat Party continues to push their agenda of if you require voter ID, then it's going to limit women and black people from voting. And this is the list of countries that require voter ID that are just in Africa that require women and black people to have voter ID. Look at the list of the countries. I can't even find some of these on map. Benin, Botswana, Burkina Faso. That's a shithole country that is really erupting into some chaos, and they require voter ID. Nigeria, Rwanda, Senegal, Sierra Leone, for Christ's sakes, requires voter ID. Why doesn't the United States require voter ID? In more ironic news, starting May 7th, you will require a real ID to fly domestic air travel and access certain federal facilities in the United States. So let's get this right. Let's break this down. You're going to require a real ID verified with like 6 forms of identification, including your birth certificate, to get into federal buildings and fly commercially in the United States. But you can still vote? Does that make any level of sense within our government? We need voter integrity. You cannot control who is the most powerful man in the world without an ID, but at the same time, you've got to get patted down by TSA and get the cuppy feel with real ID. The irony is amazing. And the Democrat Party, God bless their souls, that's what my grandmother would say, is nothing more than ironic.
Hi, I'm Christine Allen, the United States Secretary of Homeland Security. If you plan on traveling, we need your help to prevent delays and to prove your identity. Get a real ID. Starting May 7th, you will need a real ID to travel by air or to visit federal buildings in the United States. These IDs keep our country safe because they help prevent fraud and they enhance security.
Did you hear the word fraud and security? I want the same damn thing in my elections. I think you should need real ID to vote in America. What a crazy thought process here. You can put the most powerful man in the world in the White House with no ID, but you can't travel or go to court without ID. Let that sink in, okay? Let that really sink in to the deep, dark, dumb Democrat brains. Here's Stephen Miller. For those of you that don't know, Stephen Miller was one of the Duke lacrosse students that was charged, allegedly, or accused of some really heinous and vile shit with a woman that went on later and confirmed that she was lying. And this is why Stephen Miller has a vendetta. He has a mission in life. And I love the guy.
They just did it right. And it was by design. That's their belief.
It is absolutely by design. You've summarized it for your audience perfectly, Sean. This was not a loophole. The Biden administration, Secretary of Homeland Security, Alejandro Mayorkas, devised a scheme to fly illegal aliens into the country and then to escort them in mass across the border by the millions and to give them something known as parole, which gives them a work permit, which gives them a social security number, which gives them access to the voting booth. This was the plan all along, to get them here illegally so they can get free government benefits, get hooked to welfare, and be able to participate in American elections. This was an attack on democracy by the Democrat Party.
Over 200 Democrats voted against election integrity. They voted against.
That's why they ought to be fired.
Sort of verification.
That's why they all need to be fired.
American elections.
We don't need neither one of them for
treasonous for them to allow this, but they do. Now I've got a clip here.
Stupid.
I've got a clip here from Barry Soetoro, Barack Hussein Obama, and he is advocating for exactly what the Democrats just voted against.
The administration, the Bush administration, has done nothing to control the problem that we have. We've had 5 million undocumented workers come over the borders since George Bush took office. It has become an extraordinary problem, and the reason the American people are concerned is because they are seeing their own economic position slip away. And oftentimes, employers are exploiting these undocumented workers. They're not paying the minimum wage. They're not observing worker safety laws. And so what we have to do is create a comprehensive solution to the problem. Now, I have already stated that as president, I will make sure that we finally have the kind of border security that we need.
What happened with this? He sounds full MAGA.
That's step number 1. Step number 2 is to take on employers. Right now, an employer has more of a chance of getting hit by lightning than be prosecuted for hiring an undocumented worker.
Not anymore, Barry Soetoro, Barack Hussein Obama. Hey, this guy sounds full freaking MAGA. Guys, we've got to put pressure on the Democrat Party. They're already sinking faster than a submarine in the polls. The American people are realize how corrupt they are and how they do a lot of work for other people, but they don't really do a lot for us here at home. I've got to show you one other thing here that should make you happy. Colombia anti-Israel protester Mahmoud Khalil can be deported. If you hate America so much, Mahmoud, why come here and try to get your master's degree from Colombia? Why marry an American citizen? Well, guess what? Donald Trump waving from the drive-thru window at McDonald's says, get the hell out, go home, your goats are waiting, wait, wait, nudge, nudge. This is Beth Biker. I got to get out of here. You guys take care, and I will see you on the road.
This is Buick. Buick. Exceptional by design. Get 0.9% APR on these Buick models, plus current eligible non-GM members get up to $3,000 allowance on Encore GX.
A short drive from Houston, the Texas coast's best kept secret is the opportunity we've been waiting for. Welcome to Beachside. Beachside is all about lifestyle. This community is an outdoors meets paradise, with all the urban amenities just a short drive away. The Texas Gulf Coast affords you the best fishing around, and unspoiled beaches allow you to experience the Gulf of Mexico in a way that's unlike anywhere else. This
It's time for Lefties are losing it. And what is it with the left? and violence. They cannot help themselves time and time again. They resort to violence, whether it's mass violence, like we saw with the BLM and Antifa riots, or one-on-one violence, like this next clip. What chair has this lefty loses it during a discussion about abortion, attacking a pro-life activist, Savannah Craven in Tahoe.
I think that you just don't understand the magnitude of having a child. Why are you the one who admitted they would be okay with killing babies in foster care and killing children that have been abused? That's the point. What I'm saying is,
Charming. That punch left Savannah bruised. What is specific?
Well, they didn't have a nuclear weapon.
Did you mean military action though, if they don't agree?
Oh, if necessary? Absolutely. Yeah, we have a little time, but we don't have much time, because we're not gonna let them have a nuclear weapon.
Well, President Trump, with an adamant demand for the Iranian regime, abandon your nuclear ambition or else. Will the Ayatollah heed his warning or pay a catastrophic price? For more on this, we are now joined by the former Prime Minister of Israel, my dear friend there, Ehud Olmert. Mr. Prime Minister, thank you so much for joining us on such an important day. We always love seeing you. What are your thoughts about the fact that talks did go on today? They have concluded in Oman just a little bit ago, and they are agreeing to hold additional talks next week. Is that an optimistic sign in your mind?
That's a very positive sign. At this early stage of negotiations, if you will recall, about a week ago, the Iranians said that there are not going to be any direct contacts. This will be moderated by the Omani leadership, and it wasn't certain whether there will be a meeting or what type of meeting it will be. And now the Iranians made a statement that it was a very positive and encouraging meeting. So if this is their original response, I think that it started off in the right direction, but of course it's too early to offer any judgment about the possible outcome of it. Let's wait patiently and see. And the rhetoric accompanying this process, I think, will be useful.
Yes, of course. And the fact that they're at least starting, they're agreeing to do it again, that is a good sign. What are your thoughts, too, also? On the other hand, many people believe this is a pivotal moment. Obviously, given what happened on October 7th, given the fact that the Houthis seem to be weakening, Iran seems to be weakening within. Is this a pivotal moment? As many believe also that Iran is very close to a nuclear weapon. How important do you believe this time is to really put pressure on Iran?
Stop using ChatGPT like everyone else and do this instead. To the men over 50 who don't know how to use AI, tomorrow morning we're starting the 28-day AI challenge for beginners over 50. Just 15 minutes a day to level up your life. In 1 week, you'll feel unstoppable. In 2 weeks, you'll have your strategy. In 4 weeks, you'll wonder why you didn't start sooner. Tap the screen to join me.
Be an actual storm, according to the weather, but there'll probably be explosions, waves caused by things crashing into the sea. Hopefully not you, or the plane we're after. The bad guys will crash into the sea. It'll be uplifting, but traumatic as well, so, yeah.
It's certainly a good time,
Enjoy the call.
and I'm highly compliment the president and insistent on having these negotiations at this time now. Iran has weakened dramatically because of the destruction of Hezbollah in the north, the collapse of the Syrian regime, the weakening of the Houthis, and also the destruction of Hamas in Gaza. So in this context, it is a good time, and also the very determined and forthcoming approach of President Trump. So this is the right time. However, I caution everyone that there will not be any immediate outcome. It's not something that can be worked out within a few days. It will take its time. It requires certain patience negotiating with the Iranians. They are great experts in reading time. They are very manipulators. They know how to negotiate. They have very good experience in it. So we have to assume that it will last a little bit longer. If the president will carry on this approach, I think that there is a likelihood that it can succeed.
Well, that would be
In holding the Iranians off from any further development in the nuclear program. This is the objective.
yes, absolutely. Boy, would that be wonderful for the world if indeed the president could forward off Iran and bring peace in that area. Yeah, Mr. Prime Minister, President Trump has also brought in, as you seen the fleet. We have B-2 bombers in the region. We have ships moving in. So there's also a message too of military might. And he didn't rule out military action to curtail Iran's nuclear ambitions. What are your thoughts in terms of, is there a condition where you believe there needs to be a preemptive strike? And there's also been a report, Mr. Prime Minister, that should that process be necessary, that Israel would lead the way on that. Do you see a circumstance for that? And also, do you certainly agree, as I think everybody does, that Iran cannot get nuclear weapons?
Take the boat on a southeasterly bearing and you'll see the vessel you're boarding.
I said this to say definitely Iran should not have
You know what an EMP is, right? An electromagnetic pulse goes off and fries all the electrics in the vicinity. They're keeping it in a hydrant jump jet, 40-year-old technology. But anything newer would rely on circuitry and get taken out by the pulse. Yeah, I know an insurgent and an EMP are non-standard equipment for a raid like this. Based on Reshkovsky's in-depth knowledge of the facility, the schematics he provided, we've been able to draw up a plan with a high probability of success. Human factor discounted. The drawback is the shopping list, but you have it in your hands now, and you're running down the aisles and filling up our carts. Come
The
on.
president will decide that all the other options were exhausted and there is no way out of a direct upfront military offensive by the United States. And America will have to do it. America has the capacity, America has the weapons, America has the boats, the master, the counterbatters. I think the planes that can carry the counterbatters.
You see it? The aircraft carrier. Prepare to board and make your way up to the flight deck. Combine the Hydra with the EMP on it. Bring it back to the base. How do we know it's on the ship? Our crew leaked an inventory on the dark net. Put everything up for sale, the bastards. If we don't get this equipment, it'll go into the hands of the terrorists, not thieves.
Yeah, very important message. And before I let you go, Mr. Prime Minister, of course, we're entering Passover. Your thoughts, my thoughts are always with the hostages that are
You ready to board? There are two ways into the hangar bay. One door in front of you and another up a flight of stairs. Make your way through the hangar and take some more stairs up to the flight deck.
The biggest contributor to our atmospheric pollution. So, isn't your fireplace or your car, so it will affect your zero stress, your programs of air because it's falling into our systems. Convenience days with old
There's a supply room off the hangar bay if you need to stock up. The Hydra's at the far end of the flight deck. It has vertical takeoff and landing capabilities, so whoever's flying better know how to get airborne.
What even magnificent air slides Iowa have been seen before? Shouldn't expect otherwise. Again, thank you both for your voice and your attention to the skies. And this is usual. This goes back many decades. We don't know back as 1977 when Washington
was flying
even up to that point, there have been no less than 39 air biological tests by the U.S. military against an unknown civilian. So this is business as usual. Hunting, location, and an event we can't know what's happening because stuff. It's first anything they want, you know. Based on the results of that test, it's those taken.
Switch on stick swaps between vertical and horizontal jets.
Minimal interval, take off now! They've got our Hydra!
10 Kilo 6 inbound. We'll get plane. Down those jets before they down you. I am not pulling the EMP out of your wreckage. These ships are 4 decades newer than the Hydra. Keep going. Direct
It appears, based on one study that cold flying damage may aerosol spraying operations. And I want to make that clear. These are sprayed payload dispersions because there seems to be a pushback effort now, even by some organizations that are close to this administration, trying to change the narrative that this is just jet exhausts. Way past that point. We've long since proven this is absolutely not jet exhaust. We're not seeing just condensation straight up from the sky. We have a post footage of these aircraft at altitude, KC-10s, KC-135s, C-17 Roadmasters, nonsense visible to dispersions on and off. So this effort to regurgitate the official denial of what we see in our skies as being just jet exhaust is even being adopted and pushed by some heads of organizations that are close to the administration, and that's very disturbing for us. For the record, I spoke to Roberts Kennedy about 5 weeks ago. They contacted me through this organization has now changed their narrative to jet exhaust. And the conclusion of my conversation with Roberts, who was administration should know this already, but we need conscience style whistleblower protection that's well publicized. We have a stamping because as I told Roberts, I had a NOAA scientist, National Oceanic Atmospheric Administration, stating on states, ways. The first step is to lift that gap instead of finding these
Popular if you miss this one, man.
And many other applications. How devastating are these
EMP comes out of the jet, goes back into the 4x4, generally makes some money, destabilizes the whole state, and we prep the resurgent to go back into the merry-go-round. Now, moving on to phase 2, and that means taking down the resurgent once it's fitted with the EMP and getting it into the main labs.
Based on analyzation tests.
Hey, careful with that thing! It also means getting a Valkyrie from Marion Trigger out of LS. Once you do that, go back to your place and get started on everything I know about your board at the apartment.
There's many more on top of that, but they're all toxic by themselves. When you combine them, you get synergistic toxicity. And that can push the overall toxicity through the roof. So in the case of mercury, which we all have in us now, and every person that's the geometry watch, hair, blood, urine, packed with all of these metals, we know from periodic study when you combine, which most know is toxic, it's toxic to all life forms, period, no exceptions. And you combine that with mercury, the overall toxicity escalates as much as 10,000%. That's 100 times worse. It's a wonder any of us are walking and talking at this point. It's being
Thank you.
and everything, our food, our water.
We fucking walking, talking motherfucking miracles because of all the fucking bullshit these people done did on us, man.
Not the most recent studies, no. We actually had bees for quite a while in our own beehives. Until some massive Asian hornets came and killed them all. But no, we haven't seen the most recent studies on that. Can you enlighten us?
Yeah.
We'll wrap this into our health. So
We fucked up. They fucking us up.
Somewhere in the range of 65%. But what they don't tell you, that's 65% of the 20% that was remaining. We've already lost about 80% of all insects, terrestrial and aquatic. So now we're down to single-digit percentages of the bee populations left. That's extremely ominous by itself. But we have a peer-reviewed study, and your listeners can look this up. I encourage them to do so. Bees, aluminum. We have peer-reviewed study to prove, aside from all the other factors affecting bees, farm chemicals, frequency transmissions, which are also part of climate engineering, by the way. But we have peer-reviewed study in the case of aluminum to prove that the bees are dying of massive aluminum exposure. So much so that they're exhibiting symptoms that resemble Alzheimer's and dementia in a human being. They can't even find their way back to the hive.
Oh, this fucked up.
Every single rain test we've taken, the Geoengineering Watch already contains copious quantities of aluminum. And this is nanoparticle form, if you will. So the smaller the particle, and you can fit up to 100,000 nanoparticles across the width of a single human hair, the smaller the particle, the more toxic it is, the more lethal it is, the more bioavailable, the more bioaccumulative. It is absolutely positively in every breath we take at this point. How is that not a fight for life? And back to Maha. Again, how can Maha anything mean anything unless or until these programs are stopped? What happens if the bees disappear? The bees are almost gone.